Hey guys, so once again, we have my cat here, Pepe, sleeping, taking a nice little nap. So if at any point in time I'm just like droning on and on, you have a little bit of side entertainment. Hopefully it's not too distracting. Anyway, you guys seem to really enjoy my TikTok videos, like my commentary on TikTok. I'm a huge fan of TikTok. I just want to reiterate that. I scroll through that every single day, so I don't want these videos to come across as like me hating on TikTok. It can be a not so good place, but it also has a lot of amazing creative people on there. But there's a lot to talk about when it comes to TikTok because it is like this new phenomenon, a new social media phenomenon, so there's a lot to cover. So today we're actually going to be discussing the medical community on TikTok, and there's a couple varieties of different types of like bad medical content when it comes to TikTok. Firstly is the category of people who work in the medical industry that are spreading misinformation or dangerous information to TikTok's major demographic, which is of course young adults and teenagers and children. Another issue that I've come across on TikTok are actually nurses and medical professionals that mock their patients, dramatized of course, not their actual patients on a TikTok video. That would just be weird. Or they use TikTok to share like horror stories and things that they've experienced that probably should stay private between them and their patient, not just for moral reasons, but legally as well. I also want to first address that there are a lot of helpful medical professionals on TikTok and nurses and doctors that are spreading really good information about safe sex, the human body, mental health, and they're also helping to destigmatize a lot of these issues. So there are good people doing good things within the medical industry on TikTok. I just want to point that out. And I will try to list some of the ones that are actually doing good for these young adults and teens that are mostly viewing their videos. I will try to link a couple of them down in the description. So before we get further into the video, I just want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is of course an online learning community with thousands and thousands of different types of classes, from business and design to video and photo editing, pretty much anything you can imagine to strengthen existing skills, explore new passions, and fuel your creativity so you can become the best version of yourself in 2020. Personally, I'm really excited for the class called Real Productivity: How to Build Habits That Last by Thomas Frank, because I myself I struggle a lot with building new healthy habits, and I definitely need a little bit of help and advice when it comes to that. Skillshare offers affordable classes that fit your real life and your busy schedule, so there's really no excuse to not achieve your goals and better yourself this year. Skillshare is giving away 2 months of premium membership for free if you click the link in my description box. After that, it's only around $10 a month. Okay, so on to the medical advice TikTok community. So the first category that I want to address are the medical professionals, specifically nurses, that bring religion into the medical advice. So for full transparency, in case you don't know, I am non-religious. I'm actually an atheist, so I might have a little bit of a bias against these types of TikToks, but I just personally do not believe that religion has a place in medicine. If it helps you or your mental health, I don't want to discredit that, but scientifically, I just don't think religion is going to help illnesses in the long run. We have my other cat. There we go. So there is a TikTok nurse named Nurse Holly who has since deleted this first TikTok that we're gonna watch, but let's just watch it first and then we'll break it down. Now, is she wrong that abstinence is the best way to prevent STDs? Not really. Is that the most logical advice to give to teenagers? Studies say no. According to a 2011 study, abstinence-only education programs is positively correlated with teen pregnancy and birth rates. This remains significant after accounting for socioeconomic status, teen educational attainment, ethnic composition of the teen population, and availability of family planning services. And it's not just this one study. Many studies show that abstinence-only education is ineffective and actually might be contributing to the high teen pregnancy rates in the United States. This, of course, is due to the fact that sex education is basically just telling children and teens to not have sex at all instead of then educating them on safe sex and STD and pregnancy prevention. This type of education does not, in fact, encourage more sex amongst teens, but it does encourage more safe sex amongst teens. What bothers me most here about Nurse Holly's TikTok is that she is a professional nurse promoting the idea that waiting until marriage is the best way to avoid STDs or prevent STDs, but the likelihood of her audience actually doing that Maybe though her audience are more religion-based as well, because this is a common theme among her TikToks. At the end of the day, it is better and safer to promote realistic, safe ways to prevent STDs in pregnancy, and telling your younger audience that waiting until marriage, that is just not one of them. Now, like I said, religion is a common theme among her TikToks, and while that may be her personal belief, that's totally fine, but to bring it into her field of work, which is a science-based occupation, or spreading this kind of misinformation on TikTok, is when it becomes more dangerous. She has apologized for this TikTok by saying, "I do truly apologize for any offense that was taken, as I only wish to promote positivity and healthy lifestyles." Now, abstinence until marriage is not the only healthy lifestyle that exists when it comes to preventing STDs and pregnancy. So here is another one from Nurse Holly that I want to talk about. Now, is there decent advice in that TikTok? Sure, I'll give her that. It is best for stress and anxiety to take care of yourself and to build these kind of healthy habits. When it comes to general stress and anxiety, I think religion does help a lot of people's mental health. Now, if you have generalized anxiety disorder or panic disorder, is Jesus gonna help you out? Probably not. I just think it's safer to not preach your religion to a large audience that also might be dealing with mental illness, and that is just not going to be the thing that like fixes them, right? Maybe she's just giving her best advice for general stress and anxiety that you feel day to day, and not for specific anxiety disorders, because that would just be very unprofessional of her as a nurse to go onto TikTok and say that religion is going to help your anxiety disorder. Can you imagine going to your GP for a mental health issue and then they say you just need a whole lot of Jesus? I mean, like I said, she throws in some good advice in there too, and I fully stand by every other thing that she said in that TikTok. I agree with those things. Now, she does go on to clarify in this quote by saying, "My intent has never been to force my faith on anyone, as I believe everyone has the right to choose what to believe for themselves. These faith-based posts are simply to show others how I deal with the struggles in my life." And that's fair enough. I totally support that if that is what helps her through life, but your audience is quite young and you are indeed influencing them, so maybe you should be a little bit more aware about the message that you're sending to them. So the next category of problematic medical TikToks that we're going to be talking about are the nurses that are either mocking or not believing their patients. So we're going to take a look at this first one. It did go viral, so you might have already seen it. There are a lot of reasons for different symptoms, and to automatically just jump to not believing them and thinking that they're faking it is super, super dangerous and has actually led to people dying. Now, I don't think that this TikTok is that deep and that it's portraying this kind of serious issue. She is the professional here and obviously knows a lot more about this than I do, but I'm also slightly judging this TikTok and this woman based on the responses that she gave to people on Twitter who were pointing out the issue within this TikTok. Apparently, I'm being insensitive to the panic attack community. I didn't even know there was a community. I thought we were all f***ed up. I mean, there are tons of people who have never experienced a panic attack, so why she assumes as a medical professional that everyone has had a panic attack, or that just everyone deals with panic disorder and this kind. Also, it does rub me the wrong way that she is kind of mocking a panic attack, because I think a lot of people who deal with panic disorder and have had panic attacks in the past are scared to reach out for help because they don't want to be told that they're overreacting. Sometimes it's embarrassing to have to deal with a panic attack and you don't want to reach out because you are worried about this judgment. Again, I don't think that this TikTok is inherently hurting anyone. I'm sure it's just a light take on a situation that they probably deal with all the time, but it really can break the patient's trust, and you're also kind of patronizing patients here. Now, someone else actually brought up a very valid and interesting point about this TikTok. Actually, y'all don't. That's why so many black women die, because you think they are faking, but continue. And she replied to this, the reach. Now, is she perpetuating this fact in this TikTok? I don't necessarily think so. I don't think this TikTok is that deep, but it does bring up a very important issue that people of color have to deal with. A CDC report from May actually found that black women have more than 3 times the likelihood of pregnancy-related deaths than white women, and Native women have more than twice the occurrence of pregnancy-related deaths than white women do. There was also a study in 2016 that found evidence that false beliefs about biological differences between blacks and whites continue to shape the way we treat black people. They are associated with racial disparities in pain assessment and treatment recommendations. Now, like I said, I don't think this nurse in this TikTok is exemplifying this at all, but this is a very real thing that many people have to deal with, even if she was just making a lighthearted TikTok. She also states that I myself am mixed with black and race had absolutely nothing to do with my video. And I do believe that. I'm not saying that she doesn't treat her patients or she ignores symptoms in her patients or anything like that, but for this to go onto TikTok and for people to see this, I think will create a fear. I mean, people are already not trusting of medical professionals these days. So to see this, people are going to be scared, especially the panic attack community, as she calls it. Those who suffer with panic disorder are going to see this and be like, you know, maybe I shouldn't reach out because they don't want to be treated this way. Or just in general, anyone are scared to not be believed in their symptoms. So here's another example of a nurse not believing her patient. Does this probably happen to them in their career all the time? Sure, I would believe that. But some people were responding to this saying that this has actually happened to them and something that they deal with. And so maybe the medical professional shouldn't immediately just first jump to not believing their patients. Now, like I mentioned, the distrust of medical professionals, it has actually increased over the years. Yet based on polls, nursing has been voted for the 18th year in a row as the most honest and ethical profession. And these TikTok nurses aren't necessarily painting their field in a good light, which is unfortunate because there are tons of amazing nurses and medical professionals out there, even on TikTok, actually sharing helpful information. These TikToks that are going viral that are so negative make nurses look bad and thus are strengthening the distrust that general people have in medical professionals, and they're scared to be judged or treated this way. Kendra McMillian, the American Nurses Association senior policy advisor and a registered nurse, says there's a difference between talking about what one does in their role as a nurse and mocking someone or what someone was experiencing. It's our responsibility to respect and value patients who are trusting us. I want to reiterate that I don't think that these specific TikTok nurses are bad in any way, or this means that they're bad nurses. I'm sure in reality, in their actual jobs, they are fine. They're probably great. I don't know. It probably was not their intention to spark such heated discussions, but I think it actually prompted really good and important discussions, and hopefully they think twice about how they portray the nursing career online. Also, my title is dramatic. I know. I don't actually believe that nurses and medical professionals don't have a place on social media and like shouldn't be on social media. In fact, I love all the medical professionals that are out here doing actually good things and spreading amazing knowledge. Like I said, I will have some of the good ones listed down in the description. Anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I know it's a very nuanced topic, and I know that these nurses did not mean any harm. They're just trying to show another side to their field. But what do you think about it? Do you think that they're okay to post these? Do you think it does perpetuate a negative stigma around nurses and medical professionals? Let's discuss in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.